Okay, welcome my friends. This is a quick installation of the motherboard tutorial. I will not be able to show you how to install the processor for a Pentium 4 unit. This is due to the fact that my processors decided it was going to pack in and I binned it. No matter, I'll be able to do that another time because I've got one on the way. This time I'm getting a Pentium 4 HT, which stands for hyperthread, which means I can hyperthread or multitask. Anyway, let's begin with the most basic component on the on the motherboard, the I/O shield. Stands for input output shield. This stops your motherboard from tapping against here, and it also helps when you're plugging stuff in or pulling stuff out to stop the motherboard from wobbling and hitting the case, therefore killing it. It's like shorting your motherboard and that's it. Trust me, it's dead. I know that because I had an 8-year-old computer that I never dusted out and it burnt out after about 3 days of leaving it with dust in it. That's 3 days of me having the computer not even realising that it was about as filthy as an old bookshelf that's never been touched in thousands of years. Anyway, let's get to work. So we're going to take the I/O shield and we're going to hold it the right way around this time. And it's gonna have the shiny side lamp bit facing inwards. There's a ridge here as well that needs to face that way towards this panel here. This is where we're going to be installing it, nice and simple. So we're going to take our I/O shield. I'm holding it like this simply for visual purposes. We offer it up, centre it, push it in one side, holding the bottom down. Oh, it's not having none of it today. Right, you want to push all those little ridges in place so that they actually go in. I'm having to use a bit of brute force because, well, there's still burns and stuff on that. There we go. Make sure it's all in. There we go. Lovely jubbly. That's the I/O shield installed. Now for the next bit. This is probably one of the most vital parts on your motherboard. This tiny little fella. These are known as standoffs. What we're going to be using these for is, well, not only to hold this heatsink in place, but also to lift the motherboard away from the actual case itself, because metal. And it's a little bit bad to kind of like have it in like that when you got all these soldered components all stuck on there. So if you was to try and put this in, number one, it wouldn't fit into your I/O shield properly, and number two, if you gave it any power, it would just short it out and kill the motherboard, as it does with everything else. Okay, so we're going to begin by putting these standoffs in. So, for a micro ATX motherboard like that, you take these standoffs and you want one at the top here, and we're going to try and grip it properly, get it in there nice and tight. Now bearing in mind some of the standoffs are already on the motherboard because they're kind of like a little bit stuck. That's not my fault, you can blame Compaq for that one. Whoever built the original desktop unit had over tightened all of the standoffs that were in there, therefore stopping it from being able to release them. So that's one standoff in place. So the next thing we do is double check the motherboard for any more holes that need to be filled. So with this one you'll notice that there's 4 holes for the processor's heatsink, one here, and then 2 at the bottom just below the socket. Now, since there's no retention bracket for this heatsink, as you can see, there's screws on this one to hold it in place due to the fact it's a Pentium 4, but that's actually a really good design, I like it. Anyways, now since we need the screws in place to retain the whole actual processor itself, the heatsink, sorry, hold it all in place. We need these little standoffs in the holes for the CPU too. So we take them and we install them. I'm going to double check where I'm putting these standoffs because I had to make some fresh holes in the board itself to accommodate these standoffs. So let's get that one in nicely done. Tighten it up with a speaker. This is one thing that you should never do anyways, but I do. It's a little bit easier than trying to search for a wrench in my house, honestly. To be honest with you, I can't bother searching for much today. I'm a bit worn out. Just been to lunge a horse. Okay. I might at some point actually I'll put a video description in the link below for I'll put a link in the video description below for the horse himself. He's called Jerry, and he's absolutely fantastic. He's only young. He's not really been backed that long. Probably no longer than since June this year. But it wasn't that long ago that it was broken in. Just line that up with one of the other retention points. Check with the heatsink, make sure it's nice and good. Sadly, that point there is not a good hole. Sadly, when they designed this motherboard, they designed it kind of poorly, so it actually doesn't hold anything properly. So they're about right by the looks of things. So they're nice and centered. So take that, and that. Ha. Problem. That's not in the right hole. There's so many holes on this, it's like flipping. It's insane, it's like some guy who's just been shot a million times. Oh, crikey, blimey. Right, let's check the heatsink again against it. It's looking level. Right, I'm gonna just check against it again. Let me just get my screwdriver in place. Just get it on there. Sadly, this is a stock heatsink. This will not be put into the initial build itself. This is just for demonstration purposes only, because this heatsink's rather cheap. So let's put it in place for now. Just hold it with a couple of the screws to make sure that I have got it right. Oh, it's confusing. I'm going to get that one in there. Nice and happy. Happy days, as I always say. And we're still tightening it up just to get them into a nice tidy spot. Make sure that they're happy. And it's looking level. What do you say? Nice and level, right? Hopefully, please say you are thinking that. I actually had to manually mill these parts for the standoffs, so making sure that they were balanced was a bit of a challenge. I do apologise for my poor workmanship, but this does hold the heatsink in place, and the processor that previously used to hide underneath this in the motherboard did work happily underneath it with those retention screws in. They are the standard stock parts. I upgraded the heatsink so that it could accommodate any extra headroom the processor could give, till I overclocked it and killed it. A bit of a bad idea, but hey, I needed the extra FPS that I got for 5 minutes. Right, since we've got those nice and happy, even though I can only fit 3 screws in, I'll get a drill and put the extra one in another time and get some more standoffs from my local computer shop. So let's just turn it around so you can see better. Put that lamp in place. So you can see where I put this current standoff. So there's going to be one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and so on and so forth, and there's some more put into the motherboard itself, which will just screw in nice and happy. So let's put one in here as well. That's a nice place to put one, since we're going to need standoffs all over the motherboard to actually, well, all over this system tray here to accommodate motherboard heatsink and a few other components that I'll be installing. And I'll also show you what this motherboard looks like fully stocked up too. So if we was to test fit this, and we'll just get it all in nice and happy there. It looks alright, doesn't it? It looks quite nice in there. So there's going to be a standoff here where this screw's installed. So if you can see that properly, where there's a screw at the top. But yeah, it's going to look alright in there. I'm just checking for where I'll need any more standoffs. Right, it looks like I'm going to need 2 more, and that. Oh no, wait, what am I thinking? It's going to be 3 more, but it looks. Try and. Right, 2 more standoffs in place of the rest of them. I managed to get one of the standoffs earlier. Alright, so I'm going to need one here. I think I'm running out of standoffs. This is something that never really happens that often to me. Then again, I did have an ATX motherboard in here earlier, an old Pentium 3 unit. I think I might have accidentally attached one of the standoffs to that by over tightening it a little bit or using the wrong screw, something along those lines. But no matters, just so long as we can get them in nice and happy. Although I do have one slight problem with this case. The cable management is terrible. I apologise if this looks like a mess when I've completed, but it can't be helped when you've got problems like that. I'm just trying to get you into a better place so you can see everything I'm doing. Just stop that from going into sleep mode again. The laptop that I'm currently recording this off of. But let's carry on for now. I think I've lost a few standoffs. I'll check and make sure. So there's going to be one there, and then there's that one that's missing. That one there's alright. That one's there. That one's there. Yeah. I'm missing a standoff. I'll have a look and see if I can find it. It might be a bit of a shake and a drudder, that's because I'm giving it a good old search, because I'm sure I dropped one and it fell down the back of here somewhere. I think I found one. A bit of a shake and a drudder. Let's just check I'm right. Alright. Oh, there's one. That's going straight in. You'll hopefully be able to see. There you go, look. That one's going in beneath the last standoff here. Okay, so let's get that little beauty in there. Now I'm missing one more. Just one measly little standoff that's been an absolute crap to find. Okay, so that's one there. We're just one short of a complete tray there. Well, that's all the standoffs are required to get them all board in safely. I'm not taking any chances, seeing as though the last one I did was forgot a standoff burnt out. So, I'll put it in second and find the little thing. Okay, I can't find the standoff. That's going to be a little bit of a problem unless I can find some way to insulate off of the tray itself. Which I might be able to do on the clever little bugger that way. I'll just check the old Pentium 3 motherboard and see if I actually got that standoff out. Oh yeah, I did. Oh, crud. That means I'm going to have a problem. I'm out of standoffs! Oh, crud. There's one left, and it's that one right there that's going to bug me to high heck. Although, I think that should be, hopefully, enough just to keep it nice and safe, seeing as though there's a load of good ones. So, without being a little less idiotic, I'm going to be a bit more patriotic, and we're just going to put the motherboard in anyways. Minus that one tiny little standoff. I'm not sure whether it's going to do this board any good, but heck knows until we give it a shot. So it's motherboard and power supplies, cables and stuff like that. So let's take our system board, which is this, and we're going to offer it up, holding it at a tilt into the system, line it up with the interface panel. It would have been easier without the hard drive in place, but that just makes this quicker. Line it up, balance out all of your bits, bats, sort out that USB port, and it's happy. It's there. We're in. Now if I can just get a screw in to just hold it in place while I tighten the rest of the little tinkers up. In fact, I'll just put that there for now. Tighten that in just to hold the motherboard in place like that, so it's supported, but I wouldn't recommend turning it on with that one measly little screw in place. So let's tighten this one into place here and get that. Oh, come on! Okay, let's try that again and get that screw in. Once we've got it in place, nice and happy there, let's tighten it up. Take our screwdriver, screw in. I'll say it again. Take our screwdriver and screw it in. Once that's in, we can remove the other one that's linked for the heatsink really. Right, let's remove this bad boy here. Now it sticks. Oh, come on. This is the worst way to install a motherboard, I think. It's the hardest I've ever had to install, like. Right, so that's just there, okay? So that's in place to hold the rest of the board where I need it. I'm gonna sort the screws that actually have the standoffs out now. Which means I need one PCI point. So one here just to support the board. So I'm installing more. I'm installing one right, where is it, oh, there, right there. It's difficult to see, but that's because these screws are actually black, so they don't look as visible when you actually have the motherboard in place. So let's tighten it up. I'm using standard compact screws because, well, that's what the manufacturer supplied us, and we're almost there with the tension on that. I'll turn this around so you can see better and I can hold the back of the case at the same time. And we're tightening that one up to get a better fit. And it looks like I'm threading the screw. Bad idea. I think I'll go for the next one up from there, without killing my motherboard as well. Just try and unscrew that and screw it in properly, because if that's threaded now... Ow. Ah, do you know what? Where's my hammer? Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm not that bad. I'm going to remove that screw at the bottom because it's just getting right in my way. I can just take that out. There. That's better. Now I can do what I'm supposed to be doing by removing that case and screw. I can see what I'm supposed to be doing nicely. So let's loosen the screw off here. It looks like it's stuck now. Come on, baby. You can come out. Anytime now. Just don't take that standoff with you. Anytime. Come on. Alright, it's just temporarily in place while I make sure that the rest of my standoffs are good. Let's try this one here. It's an absolute prat to get these parts in perfect. You can never have a perfect PC with standoffs that are so over tightened that they come out with the motherboard. So let's tighten that one in there. I'm sorry if you can't get that standoff in place there. Top one needs to be done. Get some viewage on that. Oh, you can use them to get you a better view. Can you see that alright? Yeah, top corner right there. Move my lamp out of the way so you can see and put some light on the situation. Yeah, that's better. It's right there. So let's get that little beauty in place. And tighten her up. Get her in place. Is she tightening? Oh yeah! Right. So far the motherboard is held in place by all the screws that I've just installed or have in place anyway. So there's one here, there's a loose standoff down here which I'm going to put in now. I'll move the camera out of the way of that one so you can see which one I'm doing. It's this one here. This little thing's a bugger to get in place when it's not right, so let's get it in. See, we're doing all the ones with the standoff built in for reasons of it's easier to fit those as well as the rest of them. So let's tighten that up. Of course, don't over tighten your screws or else you could end up you might risk warping your motherboard as well. So that's not too tight. Alright. Let's do a top corner now. That's better. You can see that a little more. And take our screw, lightly place it. Try not to thread it wrong. It's my CPU. I want threading in a hyper mode. Ow! That lamp's hot now. It's a nice bulb, anyways. This is an absolute flipping twit to get right. So let's tighten her up. tap it in. Of course, not actually tapping the screw. Okay, tapping the screw a little bit there, just contradicts myself a little bit. But just nice and gently screw it in until it goes in happily. And once you've got one screw in, that one's over and done with, you just go to the next one and have fun building a PC. Okay. Get in, you little. Alright. What for? Okay. I apologise for that one. Let's get that in nice and tightly. That's happy. Okay, so now that that's all in, we've just got that one screw that's causing me grief down there to sort out. And then flipping heck, it hasn't taken the standoff out, has it? Oh, for crying out loud. Threaded the screw and now the standoff's come out. Remind me not to boot this computer up or put the power supply in place. And oh, for crying out loud. Okay, time to remove this other screw. Right, should the camera still recording? And oh, for crying out loud. Everything's falling off today. It's like one of those mad kamikaze things. Committing suicide. That's the alarm clock now. Move that fan out the way so I can see what I'm doing. There, lovely. Just push the motherboard back a bit so I can do what I'm meant to be doing, and we will get that screw in place nice and, well, not too tight but tight. Don't ever over tighten screws on motherboards, ladies and gents. It's a bad idea. I did it once and it snapped it. A fucking 600 quid motherboard as well. One of MSI's motherboards. Flipping ace that thing when I broke it. That's why I've gone back to bare basics. That's what was going to go in here, but I broke it. I wasn't happy about that, and neither was my mum. Blooming poor lass had to buy me that board. No. Right. Let's get that one in so I can get these. Oh, get on. Okay. I'm gonna have to leave you with some 80s music while I go and get something to eat. So I'm kinda hungry. So let me just open my Groove Shark account and get some 80s up for you. I'm not sure if all or any of you will like the music I play. Bear with me. Hang on! At least should do nicely while I go and get something to nibble. Right, leave you with that. Intermission. Right, I'll return. Oh. Right, put my food where I shouldn't. Right. Just in case it happens again, keep that open, and we're back. I hope you've been enjoying yourselves, had a little drink and someone to chat to. Just refocus my camera, just make sure it's in good nick, and here's a fun bit that you can do sometimes with these motherboards. Boing! I don't recommend doing it though because it could knacker the chip. Okay. So if you're not using a graphics card with these motherboards, it's okay, it's got built-in VGA, but the graphics isn't very good. You get a 20 meg frame buffer on it. So it's terrible for image work and stuff like that, but when you put a graphics card in it, it's happy. Happy days. I really shouldn't be doing this, but I need a drink. Heck yeah. It's one big ass orange beaker. Oh yeah. That's better. Okay. That's nice. Let's double checking where I've put my screws and stuff in. And I've forgotten. I need to make sure that these screws are going up and dropping everything. I'm going to have to drop you down again. So I need this heatsink in place to check it all. I've noticed one of my screws is a little bit dodgy here. So I'm going to just do something that the manufacturers really don't recommend and bend that pin. Might do it there. So I'm going to imagine that I installed my processor. Okay, I'm going to imagine that now. I'm going to show you how it's done anyways. So I'm going to drop the level of light in here just a bit so you can see what I'm doing. This brown clip here, it's a zip lock, or zero input force lock. I want you to just gently pull it to the side a little bit so it gets it clear of a tiny little tang. I'll show you that bit now. Right shaking. Come on, right shaking thing. There we go. Right, you see this brown clip here? I'm going to pull it out to the side and lift it away. Once we do, you might notice that the whole unit slides up and shifts. We're going to imagine I have a processor. So here's my invisible processor. And I'm going to just gently place it in and hold it there while I lock it in place like that. That's the processor in. Now for the invisible thermal compound. There we go, nicely done. Now to take our heatsink. This is not invisible, a little bit of thermal compound on that. Go look, nice little bit of thermal compound. And we gently place it over the processor like this. Focus your camera and Bob's your uncle. We then, with Pentium 4 processors, you will have screws on your heatsink. You want to put those screws in now. So we're going to just let that bed the compound on and just place that in nice and happy. So since our motherboard's in place nicely, we'll tighten this screw right up until it won't go any further. So that's nice and happy, and then we do the bottom corner here. And then I'm going to have to try and do the top left corner as well, but don't know whether I've put the standoff in the right way around or not, so it's going to be a bit of a guess as to whether I have, and if not, well, screw it, quite literally. Okay, let's get something to nibble down. Make sure you can't see it or else I'll probably end up getting you hungry. Don't want to make you guys hungry either. There we go. Right, let's try and get this one in. I think I heard my cat. I'm not sure if I did or not, but I might have a video at some point. I'll bring it up. Show you a video of her jumping into the window because she's a clever little bugger. She might be able to. That's not going to go in, is it? Hang on. Try and get the idea. This is another thing that's not recommended by manufacturers. I think I really need to get a better bulb that saves a bit more heat than the one that I've got in here. Because this bulb gets really hot, really quick, and it's heating up the chips that are on this motherboard. But let's imagine there's a processor under that, nice and happy, nice and cool, because I've just put the thermal compound on, and it's just sitting there, nice and cool underneath that heatsink. But there's one problem. If I was to try and run any games on this, it would simply heat up faster than you can say. Global warming is a myth. What PC warming isn't a myth, because processors do get hot nowadays. If you're an old person, you won't understand what I'm on about, because, well, back in your day when you had the MOS 6502 or Steam, well, your processors didn't really get hot because of the density of the chip not being very much. So I'm going to take a temporary cooling fan here. This is a very crappy one. Let's take this fan, and we imagine that I've got some clips on here, and we take our fan and we put it in place like that, and we have some power applied, and that would simply spin around like that. So we're going to remove that fan. And now what do we have to do next? Oh yeah, cables. Like I said before, cable management is terrible in this, so I'm going to do the best I can to get you the best view. So let's begin, shall we? Out of the way. Right, this blue connector here, and this is for your hard drive, which I already installed in here. All you do is slide it into the cage to a point where it's not interfering with anything, and you put your screws in as long as they're well centered. And once you've done that, you're good. You're nice and green for the connection bit, which is very simple. This one's an adapted hard drive, so that means that it's a serial ATA unit, and we'll show you that. Move it around. It's got Molex as well as your SATA power here and inputs, stuff like that. So that one's actually got a Molex adapter on it, luckily. You can see the space for a 140mm fan there. That's where you want your clearance look. So you want a nice bit of clearance like that between the drive itself and the unit there, so you can get some fans in there. So basically, since this is a full IDE motherboard, no serial ATAs or any serial ATA bays or anything like that on it, sadly, we're going to install an adapter. I have it right here. It's a little bit taped up, but still, that's what we're going to be installing. Make sure it's the right way around, so where there's this little wedge between here that's cut out, you want to install it with that little wedge there in that place. With this, centre it up so that you can actually get it in place, then push it in. Nice and simple, like that. And that's your serial ATA adapter plugged in. And then the hard drive is no harder. In fact, I'd say it's a lot easier because it's a smaller connector. Better for compaction. Move my nibbles and let's try and turn you around so you can see. So take your SATA cable. This one's a darker red than it looks. Hang on. So we're going to take it, make sure it's the right way around, so looks like that. And then lightly put it in like that. You're done. You're done. That's all you need to do for that bit, apart from power to the SATA adapter. Alright, let's move you back out again. And let's get back to work again. the next thing we're going to do is I've already installed my optical drives at the top. We're going to put in the IDE cable for that, but not until we've done the floppy drive. Go into my cable store, and here it is. A single directional unit, sadly, but we're going to install that, and that's easier than saying, hey, why don't we plug this in? So here is the floppy connector at the top. We're going to be installing the cable into that. I'm just got to check, make sure I've got it make sure I've got it the right side, because this doesn't fit any other way from what I hold it. So let's take it, made by Comax, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. Very good quality cables. So we're going to take it, put it next to this 20 pin connector here, and we go lightly on top of it, and it's the same as pushing in the IDE to SATA adapter straight in. Now the one thing that I like doing is cable management. It's so much tidier to have cables out of the way, but sadly with this board you can't do that, so that's a bit of a problem. It's a bit like a bug with this computer. Right, so we're going to do the same with the floppy drive as well. I like floptical drives, they're good. Right, let's push that in there, nice and neat. Oh, can't look neat. There. That's better. Okay, so now that's all in place, we're going to do the same with the optical drives. But no, that's all in. We're going to move that out of the way so you can see what you're doing. Right, that's a little bit better. Move that SATA cable out of the way too, because you don't want to be blind as to what I'm doing. Now the IDE cable for the optical drives is a little bit different, because you've got your main line, and then you've got your two connectors there, all 21 pin. A bit like SCARTs, really. That's some good onion. Alright, so we're installing that way around, same way as the other one, except from I'm going to put a little bit of a bend in this like that. So there's going to be a fold in it. We'll fold over. Bear with me. There we go, like that, you see. So we'll get a nice fold and we put it in here, in this slot, just behind the IDE. So we'll do the same as we did with the IDE cable. We push it in, simple as that. Remember, these are all single direction cables, or else you get a bit of a dodgy data transfer and, well, the drive doesn't show up at all. So, without further ado, let's go up to the optical drives. The top one's a DVD reader and that one's a CD burner. Anyways, let's hook them up. Give you a bit more light so you can see what I'm doing here. And take the bottom cable, I apologise, take the bottom one and simply install it by doing the same as we did before, pushing all of that in there nice and tight. And it's the same. Oh, I apologise, that's the heatsink falling over. And then we do the same for the top drive too. Push that in there. And that's those cables done. Now because I like cable management quite a lot, I'm going to try and straighten those out around that adapter and like that. Just to try and keep an airflow around that bit, because the RAM doesn't even get warm. But it's worth having that airflow there. Yum. So now that's done, and I have got a 400 watt power supply down the floor. Rather cheapy little thing, but it's worked. It's served me well for 8 years. But I'm getting along. The one thing we're not going to be doing is these cables. I'll do that in another video. I need to work out what the diagrams and stuff are for the motherboard so I can get them in. But what we can do for this one, RAM. One of the key components in a computer. Remember, I haven't installed a processor, so if I was to try and get a video out, I wouldn't be able to. But let's try and put that in. We're going to take a RAM chip, like that little beastie there, and you'll notice how I'm holding it. I'm not at any point going to be touching these gold pins. Those pins are simply not to be touched. I'll put that there a second while I grab a tomato. Or for you Americans, tomato. And we're gonna carry on. Take the round chip, holding it the right way up. Make sure you're holding it the right way up, of course, is important. The chips I'm using are 256 megabytes a piece. So once we've centered it and it's all happy and, you know, slotted, we'll focus this camera again, make sure it's right. And we go to the top of the motherboard, push it in, and go to the bottom, where the bottom pins are. Find out it's the right way around, I think, and push that one in too, and we're in. Happy. Happy days. So the next chip I have here is a novice DDR400 256 megabyte CL3. It's nice when you use it. It runs okay. It's a lot faster than this one here. 175 megahertz, 256 megs. It's not very good. That was a standard HP. That was out of an old HP. Let's plug this one in though. Take that, center it like that, so that's nice and happy in the slot. And then push and push again. And that's 512 megabytes of memory installed in this computer, which is the standard. 250 gig serial ATA hard drive, floppy, 2 CD burners. One that's a CD burner and a DVD reader. A Pentium 4 HT processor as soon as possible after purchase. 64 megabyte graphics, wireless internet capabilities, Windows XP, you know, basic stuff. So we're going to do the power supply in a second. I'll install that one for you after I've shown you how to put in a case fan. I haven't got the original screws for this case fan, plus corners are broken off from it being swept a load of times. That's a basic case fan, high speed this one is. This is originally out of a server, so it's going to run very noisily as well. It's not designed to be quiet. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to install this, and in my own style, not using the correct screws as well. So let's bang it in. Take a couple of massive screws. These are the ones that I was hurting myself on earlier. And very simply, move your camera to where you're going to be installing the fan. Get your fan, pull it up. You'll notice I'm not doing it that way around because I'm not having any exhaust fans on here. That's a very simple explanation. So we'll take the fan and offer it up to the case. Put in a screw. I'm just going to loosely place them for now. Just like that. Get them in. Like that, so you can see that it's already in place, nice and happy. Happy days. So we're going to install these properly this time. Take a screwdriver, or in my case a pair of scissors, and screw it in. And it's as easy as that. And these are on a Molex connection, I'll show you that in a second. That's the Molex link. And put that down for now. And tighten up these screws to stop the fan from either falling out of the case or breaking again. Don't over tighten your fan. It's a simple safety rule. Not just because the council says health and safety is so important that you need to do this, that and the other just to do this. Like for example, you need 10 men to change a light bulb if you work at the council. Well, when you're at home, all you need is one. Or just to wire a plug. You need a person in the cupboard with a clipboard. The reason why he's in a cupboard is so that he doesn't get blown to pieces if he does. Well, you wouldn't really get blown to pieces if you were messing about with a plug now, would you? Photonic induction, everybody. He knows what. Okay, so we're going to install the power supply now. Let's see if I can get you a better view, just bear with me. Okay, now I'm going to get to work on that. Excuse me. Just move you up smoothly. There we go. Now you can see where this power supply is going to go. It's going to go in this slot here. Nice big bay for it. Nice little bit of holding there. Hold it there. And I'll show you the power supply now. I've had it checked. It is genuine. It's a VTK ATX switching power supply with 3.3, 5 volt, 12 volt, negative 5 volt, negative 12 volt, 5 volt standby, 3.3 and 5 volts to the maximum of 250 watts. So that this power supply is a genuine 400 watt power supply. It's quite a weight to it. It's a good expensive one. It was like 30 quid a pop when I first got this unit. So we're going to pull it up, offer it up to the bracket at the top, and then we're going to slide it across until it's nice and happy on the other side. Once it's settled on those two bits, that's when we're going to install the screws. Now I can't show you me installing the screws because, well, I know it's rude not to, but well, I can't do it because simply holding the power supply while holding a camera, trying to get a screw in, is just not physically possible with just one man doing everything. So I'm going to just put everything in place now. Just tighten up the screw over here. Once that's in, nice and happy, we're going to put the bottom screw in. I believe this one's a positive end screw, so I'll need my scissors for this one because I've lost my screwdriver set. Sadly, it's annoying. It will be sadly missed. I'll put it in that top corner that fell out again. It's annoying when that happens because you never know when it's going to happen, and when it happens, you're bugged. Okay. Right, you'll see this power supply start to lift a little bit when I tighten it up, look. And that's one side complete. Now that that's in, we're going to do the other side as well. Just bear in mind that you need to remind me not to plug everything into the main power source itself, due to the fact that I didn't actually put that standoff at the bottom corner in correctly. Okay, what's next? Another screw. That can go in quick enough. Let's get that bottom corner down there. Oh, I need a better screw than that one. No matter, we'll leave it at that for now. But anyways, that's how you install the power supply itself. And we're going to put all the cables in 3, 2, 1. So, cable management is a bit of an issue with this unit. I do apologise for the mess this is going to look. It's a huge mass of cables, what to expect. It's a non-modular power supply, so it's a bit of a prat to get right. So I'm just going to get this 20 pin connector, move the rest out of the way for now, and put them on top of the unit. Oh, actually no, it's better to stuff them all in there. Just bang them all inside there for now, but cable management really is a prat in this computer. So we're going to make it easier for myself, twist this around so that it makes it smaller. Of course not always recommended if you are a bit of a nonce at computers. Take it, slide it down into the 20 pin Molex connector and push it in, and that's basically how that's installed. Try and get that cable out the way. There we go, and that's that one done. This one is going to lead to both CD drives and optical drives. I mean, both CD drives and the floppy. That's what she said. And they're just going to go straight in at the top. So, installing a bit. And we're going to just go, boom, dink, forgot my keys. That just goes in there, nice and happy. All we do is the same for that one. Plug it in. And you'll notice the cable management is fantastic at this point because, well, there's just enough cable there to stretch to here, and then there's just enough length between those two bits there just to, yeah, that's good. And then this, the floppy drive, it's the same. It's the same story, just enough wire. But then it's the rest of the system you have to worry about because, well, there's bits like the power cables for the cooling fans and things like that that you need to worry about. So before we actually do that, I'm going to put this lamp in so you can see where I'm put the camera in there so you can see where I'm putting this plug in. Take this plug, I'm going to have to hold it like this now. Try and get it in. And this is an X-Blade case. I forgot to mention that. This is the same case that you've seen in one of my videos. It will be the video of my PC's new case. Simply because I got this case for about £30 off eBay. And it served me well, but it's a little bit damaged now. I've had it a few years. There we go, that's nice and happy, all in there, just as it should be, all plugged in, happy days. And that's that. That's those more like connections in, for now. Now we're going to sort the rest of them out. I'm going to connect the hard drive up this time. That's what she said, hard. Get it? Right. So for this one, I'm going to take the longest cable I have in this power supply, and that happens to be this one with 3 connectors on it. And we're going to route it around a little bit, just get it into the right places. Yay, places! And that's basically just going to slide in through the top part of the drive bays. And 5 1/4 inch bays are right flipping out full. And slide it all the way down, hiding the cable as we work, out, being burned by the heat of the lamp, and hopefully ending the link at the hard drive. So we're going to pull it through here, take it around and about to the hard disk where it's going to be plugged in here. Like that. Cable management. It's simple-ish. Right, now there's one that really does bug me because I can't hide it under anything here. And that's the 4-pin CPU power. It's dangling right here. That's that one. So let's move you up to where we're going to install that. Move this lamp out of the way. I apologise, you've just seen it properly there. It's a cheapo lamp by Asda. Right, let's get it back over here so you can see where it's going in. Sorry, I'll start that heat problem again. There, you can see that 4-pin connector there, can't you? You can see it even better now. Alright, we're going to take this plug and put it in here, but first, we're going to make sure it's not in the way of anything. So we're going to do a very sad excuse for cable management, and that's to route it around the heatsink. Making sure that we get it out of the way of absolutely everything that's there, just to plug it in here. Sorry, I apologise, but my cable management's not looking, well, hopefully too bad so far. It's looking rather good. It could look better, but I am doing this a little bit briskly. I'm also going to take this 4-pin connector here, which is actually a 2-pin connector, and I'm going to install it on this card here, for the hard disk. So, simple as, take it, push it, job done, without knocking your camera over again. And that's basically that for cable management and stuff like that. Basic stuff, you know, connections to power and things like that. The only thing I'm not doing is plugging this lot in, because, well, I could damage something with the way that I've had to skimp and things like that. But now we're going to put adapters in, so stuff like wireless LAN, that's simple. And what about, oh, I don't know, graphics. Graphics card here, 64 meg, NVIDIA GeForce 4 MX420, so it's not bad. It's not the light edition one. Light edition's rare anyways. I'm glad with that one. Right, so we're going to install that now. I'm going to start with the easier one. Oops. And that's this wireless LAN card. Hold it. Hold it in the right way. So you want to make sure it's nice and safe. Do not touch those pins at the bottom. You'll notice I don't ever touch those pins unless I'm holding them very lightly at the top, because there's a little bit of clearance if you look at the top where there's no pin. It's alright to just about touch that bit, but it's not safe to. We'll do that second. I'm contradicting myself because the heatsink on this is massive. I don't know how far down it's actually going to reach. It's probably going to go down to that PCI slot there. So we're going to put that in. We're going to put this in nice and snug. Take it, align it with the brown socket, and just line everything up and push it in. And that's that locked in. It covers that top PCI slot just beneath itself. So we're going to take the wireless LAN card and we're going to put it in a slot below. That one that we were going to use anyways. But anyways, we're going to line it up just nice and happy until it's in that point where the expansion bay is. We push it in, and then usually by this point I would advise that you don't plug this in until you have installed your drivers. I already have the drivers nice and safe on this hard disk, which is already on its way out. Nice and safe, my ass. And that's basically all I can show you for today. That's everything. Everything covered. All of it. Well, I'm going to switch this Molex around a little bit. Blooming pin. I'm going to repair that now. Let me put that back in there nice and happy. And take this and I'm going to plug this into the hard disk. Like so. And then plug this into that. And I think the computer hates me. It's misbehaving. But no matters. We can get that in there nice and snug though. And of course I will be also getting a CPU fan that connects to Molex because, well, the power pins for the CPU fan do not control it whatsoever. They just leave it at nice, extremely low speed, causing it to all overheat and pop. So we'll plug that in, leave it at that. And that, my friends, is how you install a motherboard, RAM. You also want to install your graphics, your power supply, all sorts of lovely little bits and bats, lovely, nice little gubbins, all in 57 minutes. Plus an intermission, of course. But thank you very much for watching, and here's a nice little view of what's inside this PC. Pentium 4 CPU will be there, HT version of course, I'm not putting a standard one back in. All sorts of nice little bits, 64 meg graphics, me shaking the camera a little bit by accident, wireless LAN. You basically know everything that's in here now, 512 meg RAM, floppy drive to optical drives, all sorts. Plus a lump of cheese. You can't forget your lump of cheese. Oh yeah. Okay then. So I'm glad you watched this. I'm glad that you actually read the, well, actually have a look at the description below. Actually, if I remember what description it was again. But anyways, have fun messing about with your motherboards, installing them. Please remember to put all of your standoffs in. Don't lose any of them. Don't bin any of the screws. Don't bin any components you don't know what they're for. Read the manual if you don't know. Or just ask me. Just comment in this. Just comment in this. Blah, blah, blah. Just comment in the section below. I'm not disabling the comments on this video. Anyone flags any of these videos, especially the ones that I make that will probably have flames in, I will hunt you down. Because it's not funny. Word of warning. Many people like flames. Flaggers, if you don't like flames, don't bother with the video. Move to something that's more suitable for you. So, for example, some kids program. And if you think it's funny to touch that flag button, then you are just some sad loner sitting in their house on the PC, which is probably very slow, made in the early 90s, running Windows 95 with a 4MB hard drive, 64 megs of RAM, and nothing much else. If, however, you decide to change your ways and start laughing at these fires and stuff that might go wrong, experiments that go wrong, you don't flag. Stuff that's on fire intended for just entertainment purposes, don't flag. Especially if they give safety warnings. So for example, take a look at Photon Vid's videos, so photonic induction, or Andy as he's also named. If you have a look at the start of each of his videos, if it includes anything to do with high voltage, fire, aerosol cans in bonfires, stuff like that, anything that bursts into flames, it gives you advice on safety. If you are able to do this yourself, don't try this at home. That stuff he warns you about. It's not to try stuff at home like messing about with high voltage transformers, power supplies, fire. And he also gives you the then he also advises you on safety gear as well on some of his videos. Health and safety's gone rogue nowadays. I guess that's where the flaggers come in from. Probably from not social services, sorry, but different places, all sorts of different places where they like to flag stuff that's to do with fire, high voltage, flames, you know. So if you really are that sad and desperate to flag a video, flag something that's actually worth flagging, so stuff that really is dirty. stuff that includes some of the most obscene stuff on the internet. Stuff that you'd normally find in the world's worst sites, so for example, you know, porn. So stuff like porn sites, things like that. Anywhere that's actually dirty, if there's any videos like that on there, YouTube, flag them instead. Instead of just sitting there thinking, oh, I might have a go at that myself. And then going to someone else's video who's just set something on fire by accident, or set something on fire just to see what happens to it. For in educational purposes, of course. I'm thinking, oh no, this is sad and dangerous, let's flag it. Click, flag. If anything, you guys out there flagging videos, if you're flagging videos that are completely obscene, out of the flipping minds, that are really not supposed to be on YouTube, good on you. If you're flagging videos that include fire, you think, oh my god, why am I watching this, I better flag this right this very second, click flag, boom. You're just sad. So my friends, I'll leave you on that note, on a much happier note. In 2 weeks, this desktop will be up and running, hyper-threading like no one's business, hopefully. And I hope to see you again as well, because this will be a nice computer when it gets going properly. So thank you very, very much for watching. Please subscribe, rate and comment, and I do apologise for rambling on to the point where this video is now more than 1 hour and 2 minutes long. This is to be the longest video I've ever made on YouTube, which is teaching you how to install a motherboard. But thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, rate and comment, and I hope to see you again in another video.